Good afternoon, welcome back. I see a lot of familiar faces, and I'm hoping many more will come because it's a very special package that we're screening today of some really important films from the Films Division archives. Like you would be knowing, the title of the show is Radio and Television on Film. So on the film medium, on the celluloid medium, talking about, we're showing the early films made on radio and early television in the 1960s, looking at these media of mass communication, run by the state, controlled by the state, the whole philosophy behind it, the whole form that it takes as a medium of outreach for the government, putting together, again, under this large umbrella called India, diverse cultures, diverse people, and everything. So we look at, the way in which radio in the early years goes out to people, what purposes it's put to, how many languages it covers and addresses, where you access it, whether it's at home or in a classroom in the school, at the frontiers where it's your defense service personnel who are responding to and are a huge constituency among radio programmers, especially in terms of entertainment programs, as you'll see. The package includes some of the biggest names in both Films Division and in public life around us. Just to name a few, among filmmakers and producers, there's Ezra Mir, V. Shantaram, Mohan Bhavnani, John Bhavnagri, T.A. Abraham, musician V. Shirali, who gave the music for a lot of early Films Division films, and Uday Shankar's Kalpana. We'll see things changing over time. You might notice that many of the films repeat certain themes. Many of the films also repeat certain shots, which gives us an insight into, one, the thought behind making these films and how they were actually put together by Films Division. So if you're talking about one film which is called Voice of India and another one which is called Realm of Sound, you'll realize these are similar films and yet they're slightly different, and we've put them together. The way we've arranged the program, it's actually going in chronological order, starting with the oldest, ending with the newest, and giving us a window into this entire world, also looking at national history, looking at cultural history, and the whole soundscape created by the radio, and very importantly, looking at visual history, about how these films are put together. We have familiar and recognizable faces. We have familiar faces that maybe I can't put a name to anymore, but I know that they're familiar. And maybe some people in the audience would be able to guide us, if at all there's a question as to who these people are. And among politicians and statesmen, of course, Nehru, Gandhi, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, Dr. Radhakrishnan, V. Krishna Menon. And this is the first time that I personally have seen a film of President Dr. Radhakrishnan talking, made in 1965, where he addresses the nation on the starting of a daily television show, which runs for a certain duration of time. So yes, just to rewind a bit, I don't see too many young people here in the audience, but to go back to a time when television ran for a few hours every evening and then the session ended, unlike now, which is a different scene altogether. Musicians, Ravi Shankar, Rajkumari, Gangubai Hangal, Mahendra Kapoor, Surinder Kaur, Asa Singh Mastana, Bismillah Khan, whom we see on screen in these various different films. We hear many more on the soundtrack. Of course, your regular people who sang playback songs in Hindi movies, actors who appear in different programs as hosts of shows, or in the famous drama show called Hawa Mahal, which is still aired on Vivid Bharati. Devanand, Meena Kumari, Padmini, Pental, and so on. And very important voice artists who were giving the voiceover and the commentary to many of these films: Berkeley Hill, Melville DeMello, Zulvelani, and Pratap Sharma. And so we start with films. The first three films actually are credited to Documentary Films of India, which is what Films Division was called in its earlier avatar before it was called Films Division. We start with an 11-minute film made in 1951 called Voice of India, produced by Mohan Bhavnani, directed by V.R. Sarma, followed by Realm of Sound, 1954, 19 minutes, produced by V. Shantaram and directed by John Bhavnagri. News for the People, which actually takes a step back. It takes you into the production of news, mainly for newspaper use, but also talking about how the radio and how the medium of the newsreel, the form in which we are watching it now, was being used for dissemination of news. 1957, 11 minutes, Ezra Mir and Ravi Prakash. So after the first 4 films, we'll just take a short break of about 10 minutes. Then we'll proceed with the remaining program. We have President's speech inaugurating the daily television program, 1965. Like I said, Dr. Radhakrishnan talking about the starting of Doordarshan. Then followed by a film called AVIJIT Bharati on the popular service, which was set up as a service that the people would determine the content of. So there'd be a lot of request programs, there'd be a lot of interaction with the audience, with people writing in and so on. I think All India Radio's first major entertainment service, where there was a lot to do with film music and so on. We'll see that. Followed by a half-an-hour film called Tale of a Tower, which is very fascinating because it looks at the different stages of the construction of the television tower in Worli. So, 1972, with the setting up of the television center in Bombay, and of course, it tells you in great detail all the engineering details of the thing, how many tons of steel and how many tons of concrete and how long it would take. The fact that it was made entirely by Indian engineers, but some incredible landscapes taken from top of the tower and around, the whole mill lands in that area taken at that time. Followed by, I find this very, very charming, an instructional film made in 1974 called How to Operate a Community Receiver Set. So at length, in great detail, it tells you if you are a community radio user, then how to put it together, how to disassemble it, how do you use it to listen to the radio, how do you use it as a public address system, how do you use it to play back music from a record, or how to use it to record things which are actually being broadcast on the radio onto a tape recorder in great detail. Then a charming little short film, 2.5-minute short film called Do You Have a License, directed by Shankar Ganguly. Sorry, I'm missing the names, I'll just come back to them. Made in 1977. Which is urging the users, all television and radio users, to go and immediately get a license for the radio and television sets, because at that time you needed a license from the Government of India, which you could procure in a post office. And it tells you that, okay, if you haven't got a license so far, it's fine. We will forgive that. We won't even ask you where you've got the radio from. Just go and get a license now. And we end with another newsreel from the mid-90s, which is talking about the whole post-video, post-television scene and radio, and the setting up of the whole Prasar Bharati to take over, to take all broadcasting under one umbrella. So we're looking at a huge period of history, 50 years, and through newsreels and documentary films. And like I said, after the 4th film, we take a break and we meet again and continue, and I'm sure we'll have a good discussion at the end of it. Thank you.